There's no question off limits. You ask and I'll answer, I promise. I want to get it all out there, whatever you're wanting.
How profoundly did the rejection from your birth parents impact you?
I mean, the short answer is very profoundly, and it still affects me today. I think it causes this detachment in what you can attach yourself to or who you attach yourself to that is super scary. When you grow up in that scenario, it becomes very difficult to form relationships that would be deemed normal. I don't have a problem forming bonds with people anymore, but I had to work very hard at that.
What do you want the world to know about you?
That I have a condition that only one in about 50 people in the world has.
What is that condition?
It's called BAM syndrome, which is Bosma Aurelia Mycophthalmia syndrome. I am case number 2 in the world. There is a lady, as far as I know, that's case number 1 in the world. I didn't find out my diagnosis until 2017.
How does the syndrome impact you?
When I was born without a nose. I was also born with a cleft palate and minus a tear duct in my right eye. I mean, I know I had a lot of surgeries as a child, as a baby, because they had to close my cleft palate. They had to create a nose for me.
How old were you when you got a nose?
I always say that I got my nose when I was 10, because that's the surgery that I remember no longer having 2 small holes in my face, but actually having a nose. They took the skin from my forehead, a rib from my side, cartilage from my ears, cartilage from my hips, and that's what you see today here is my nose.
Do you have the sense of smell?
I do not. I don't have the olfactory system that is the passageways in your eyebrows, which is your sinuses. I have no sinuses. Children did not want to be my friend. You know, they ran the other direction. I was a lot by myself. But kids were severely hard on me as a child. They did not want to be my friends and weren't my friends.
What are your earliest memories and what was it like growing up with this condition?
Difficult. My earliest memories were being severely rejected by just about everybody, including my parents. They were not equipped to deal with someone with my kind of condition. My father was out of the picture by the time I was 5. My mother was out of the picture by the time I was 9, and I went into foster care.
You said that you were taken from your parents. Is that because there was neglect involved?
Yes. In both directions, quite honestly. You know, neglect and abuse from my mother, and my father denying he was my father, which is, I guess, a form of neglect.
What was it like growing up in foster care?
Tough. Sad. Interesting. I don't know. That's the best words I can come up with.
Your dad did not want to admit that you were his son. How did you learn that that was reality?
My father was married when he met my mother. And 5 years after he met my mother, they had me. And he had 4 previous children that probably felt pretty gypped. And so when my mother and father split up, it was very easy for him to tell everybody, he's not my son, that's hers. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that I know that. But it's reality.
And what was the situation like with your mom before you were removed?
The best thing that I could say is my mother was also adopted as a teenager or close to it into a family that right after she was adopted had a biological child, and that was very damaging to her, and she became the forgotten child. She didn't have the skills to be a parent. She didn't have them, and so therefore not only was she ill-equipped to be a parent in general, but how about be a parent to a disfigured child and have to endure what she had to endure. And make no mistake, I don't condone anything that she ever did that caused me to be removed. But I also understand that imagine yourself as a person who lived in an orphanage, who was adopted, who was forgotten, who ran away from home at nearly 18, and then was given had a child that had the conditions that I do, raising that child with a man who had another family. I mean, it's like every possibility of just being a mess. Just how else? So I had to be the person that stopped that. I was the only child that my mother had. I was not going to perpetuate that in any kind of way.
Do you have a lot of memories of growing up?
I have a lot of memories of growing up. Too many memories. Part of not having a sense of smell, you pick up different senses in different ways. And one of mine is like a picture perfect memory of the strangest things and the strangest times for entirely strangest reasons.
What are some of the memories that are most prevalent in your mind?
Specifically, my dad coming home from work when I was 5 to get on the lawnmower and watching him out the window, to the day that I was at school and I was being taken away from my mother and the caseworkers picking me up and the clothes that I was wearing, and my father passing away when I was 13. Those are some of the strongest memories I have.
Were you close with your parents even after going into foster care?
No, not at all. My mother is still alive. She lives pretty good distance from me. She doesn't live here where I live, and it's a good 10-hour drive to go see her. She is my mother, and I love her, but we have a very different kind of relationship.
Tell me about from 9 until when you left foster care. What were those years like? What happened?
Well, I bounced around a lot. I was in a lot of different homes, foster care homes, group homes, until I was 18. At 18, I moved out on my own, and I was still a junior in high school. I would have told you when I was younger that it was very worldly, because I think growing up in a whole bunch of different homes, it feels very worldly. But I can assure you now, as a 50-year-old adult, that it was not. It was very narrow. And it was very narrow because just because you were exposed to a lot doesn't mean you absorbed a lot. It means that you, well, let's speak like religion. Like I was Lutheran for a while, I was Christian for a while, I was Baptist for a while, I was Catholic for a while, I was non-denomination for a while. How do you attach yourself to a religion when you've been so many? You know? So, would I recommend? I would not recommend. As they say, as the kids say. I would say sometimes it was sad. I would say sometimes it was very disconnected. It was very disjointed, chaotic, strange. There's a lot of words to describe being bounced around between home to home to home to home. When you see these kids that are looking for a home, they're foster kids and they're teenagers. It's because when I went into foster care, like officially went into foster care at 9 years old, people don't want older children. They want babies. So finding a kid that's older, that's got medical problems, that looks different, that has the facial disfigurement, trying to find him a home, or them a home, nearly impossible. I was adopted at 17 and 9 months, and only because I was afraid that when I turned 18 that I would have nowhere to go. I would have no place to call home.
Who adopted you at 17 years and 9 months?
A lady who was single, who happened to be a nurse, who happened to work at the hospital in which I had had many of my surgeries.
Did you live with her for any amount of time?
I did, from 16 to the day I turned 18.
What happened at 18?
I moved out because I could. Because I wanted to. Because I wanted my life to be mine. Even though I was afraid of my life being mine. Because I had nobody. I was adopted, yes. But you never really fit into a family that you met when you were 16 and you left when you were 18. I mean, maybe a little, but not a lot.
What were your young adult years like from 18 to 21?
Good. I graduated high school at 19. I went to a year of college, community college. I mean, as best as I could make them. At 22, I moved to Tennessee. I moved far from home at 22 to get away from everything that was where I'm from, which is in Pennsylvania.
Tell me about the years from when you moved to Tennessee.
I was raising stepchildren. 2 stepchildren that I love very much. I just insisted that I was not anything like my parents. So I just wanted to be different. I wanted to be loving and caring and kind and understanding. I just wanted them to feel differently than I did. And I was very young. I was 22 and they were 11 and 12. I miss them a lot. And they're grown, have their own lives. And I'm not as important as I'd like to be. But it's okay. That's what those years were, was raising them.
Let's talk about the present.
Sure.
What is going on now? Tell me about your family life, your work, everything.
So I'm lucky. I have a very loving family. I have a daughter that's 18, and I have a job, and I work in the legal field, and I do Social Security disability work.
What's it like when your daughter was born when you were 32 years old?
Amazing. I remember not believing that it was possible because I remember doctors telling me when I was younger that it wouldn't be possible. At 12 years old, when I should be caring about my bike, doctors were telling me, you're probably never gonna have kids. So at 32, when I finally had a daughter, I was, beside myself. I couldn't hardly believe that we were able to make that happen. That's a better way to put it.
What was it like to become a father 18 years ago after your experience as a kid?
Extraordinary. Incredible. Almost impossible. Should have been. I'm so glad that it wasn't.
Why do you say almost impossible?
My condition is so rare that I was worried that my daughter could inherit my condition, but thankfully she is not.
Do they know much about the genetic component of your condition? If it's randomly occurring or if it is something that can be passed down?
They know very little, but they know that it happens in the first 3 or 4 weeks of conception.
Do you feel like you met your goal of being nothing like your parents?
Absolutely. I have an incredible daughter who's a straight A student, who's got a free ride to college, who is everything that I wish that I could be. She's the lead editor on her yearbook. She's beautiful. And I don't say beautiful as in like the way she looks. I say beautiful in the person that she is. Oh, gosh. I'm sorry. I didn't have to. I've been lucky enough to be given a beautiful, smart, unapologetic daughter that will never have to worry about having my condition.
Did you take great pride in ending generational trauma?
Yes. And you know who was my biggest supporter in that? And I now know that. It took me a long time to figure out where I got that from because I have no idea, because I never really had anybody truly take an interest in me when I was younger. And there's long stories there. It's the nurses in the hospital when I was having surgeries. They showed me empathy. They showed me caring. They showed me what it was like to be interested in somebody else. Empathy, in a lot of ways, is very tough for me. But at the same time, I'm super aware of it. because I was not taught empathy by the people who should have taught me it. It was taught by strangers.
Now that your daughter is 18 years old, what is your future looking like?
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. I really don't know, because I never thought I'd get to this point, honestly. I don't know. Honestly, I never thought I'd get to this point. I'm 50. I never thought I'd make it to 50. I'm very glad that I did. My first goal in life was to have a daughter, to have a child. My second goal in life was to make sure that child graduated high school. I'm there.
What type of emotions do you experience when you think about her growth and her graduating high school?
I just want her to go out there and change the world. That's what I want. Because she can. I might not be. I might not have got to. But I know she can.
You said that you didn't think you'd make it this far, be 50 years old. Is that because of maybe something doctors told you when you were younger, or is that just because you went through so much that you didn't expect to live as long?
It's a good question. This is going to sound very simple, but I tell people a lot. Well, hello there.
Hey, buddy.
It's okay.
You're fine. You can just take him out real quick.
Yeah.
After he says hello.
Hi, buddy. Hello. Do you hear that grunting he makes?
Yeah.
Do you know what kind of dogs these are?
No.
Brachiocephalus.
Okay.
So when a dog has a kind of pushed in face, I'm brachiocephalus.
Okay. So,
I know that's silly.
what does
But-
that word mean?
It's just a pushed in face. The brachiocephalus is like pugs and boxers and pit bulls. Well, maybe not pit bulls, but they have this smushed in, and they often have a lot of breathing problems. And I will feed into that question. The question that you asked me earlier is, why do you think that the doctors tell you that you are going to die quicker? And I was going to give you my simple answer. I tell people all the time, imagine removing the radiator from your car and driving it down the road. How far do you think you'd get?
Not
It's a
far.
mechanical thing that leads a way to cool. Your nose is your radiator. Behind your nose is a hypothalamus that does all kind of things for your body. The defect is in my hypothalamus. It's not really here. It's here, but that's just the outward expression. The defect is in my hypothalamus. So having that defect also gives me all these breathing problems. I don't breathe through my nose. I have sleep apnea when I'm awake, which is very odd because I clearly have it when I'm sleeping. I do believe that my heart and my lungs are not going to live an acceptable length of life. Like, they've made it way further than I thought we would. You listen to my breathing, it's terrible. I don't know. I could drop dead tomorrow. I hope not. But I could also step off the sidewalk and get run over. I don't know. I hope to be old. But the reality is, probably not.
Did you raise your daughter with the knowledge about facial differences that you wish other kids knew when you were younger?
Yes.
What did you teach her?
That everybody is just like everybody else. We just all look a little bit different. And that's okay. It doesn't matter. You know? It doesn't matter. I'm really hard on my friends that make jokes about people that have no choice by the way they look. I'm not hard on them when it comes to a person physically altering themselves in a way that looks ridiculous. I'm not. You did it to yourself. I'm sorry. But if they don't have a choice and they make fun, I'm not in my group, not in my Facebook, not in the things that I see, because they have no choice and you have no right to do that.
When somebody finishes watching this video, what do you hope they remember most from it?
Go teach your kids how to accept people that don't look like they do. All people, all colors, all races, all disfigurements, facial or not, missing arm, missing leg, whatever difference you can find, socioeconomic, whatever. It's okay to be different. It's okay to accept and not fear what is different than you. I wish more people understood that.
Thanks for watching SBSK. Click subscribe here to be part of our community. Then hit the notification bell below so you never miss a story. You can even meet another friend here. See you next time.